episode of our bizarre and unusual world, remade for ASMR. If you would like to see the original version of this video, please check out my second channel. The video will be linked below. Hopefully you guys will enjoy this special holiday-themed episode. In today's video, I will be talking all about Krampus. So as per usual, I'll be covering the who, what, when, where, why, and how of the legend of Krampus. So let's go ahead and start with the what. What is Krampus? So in folklore legends and the myths, Krampus is said to be a horned creature, often described as half-goat, half-demon creature. His scary look also features horns and a long, pointed tongue. This creature is said to have chains and bells wrapped around his body. Now Krampus relates to the holiday and the Christmas season because this creature is said to punish the naughty children. Almost the opposite of Santa Claus, who is said to give gifts to the nice children. Krampus is known to punish the children that have misbehaved, and a lot of stories of Krampus is described to have bloodshot eyes, large fangs, and a menacing look with black fur-covered body and horns that curl up around his head, kind of resembling that demon goat look. Now this creature runs through the streets chasing children and adults, poking them with sticks and overall working to scare them and remind them how they have been naughty this year. In some versions of Krampus, it even goes a step further, and instead of just poking with sticks, Krampus is said to literally beat people into being nice instead of naughty. He then grabs the bad children and takes them back to the underworld. He's often described wearing a basket or a sack on his back to transport the children back to the underworld. Krampus also shares similarities to some demonic creatures from classic Greek mythology, such as fauns or creatures like him. As for the where of Krampus, the legend originated in several different parts of Europe, but oftentimes many people associate the legend with Germany and its several centuries of tradition and celebration of Krampus. The actual word Krampus comes from the German word Krampen, which means claw, but today the legend is spread through many different countries: Austria, Hungary, Czech Republic, and many other locations. Now for the when of the creature. The exact origin of this legend is unclear, but some folklorists and anthropologists suggest that Krampus is from a pre-Christian origin, relating to the Alpine traditions or inspired by raids that happened throughout Europe, in which people were stolen and sold into slavery. But even if the exact origin of this legend is unknown, the Krampus story continued on throughout the generations, and by the 17th century, Krampus was associated with Christian winter celebration, mostly by pairing Krampus with St. Nicholas. Kind of like a balance of good and evil for the holiday season, if you will. But Krampus has not always been welcomed. In the 1920s, the Krampus tradition was actually prohibited. During World War II, the Catholic Church forbid any of these celebrations, and into the 1950s, different governments would hand out pamphlets reminding the people that Krampus was an evil being and should not be celebrated. But these days, Krampus is definitely making a comeback. So many people have such a negative attitude toward the holiday season that Krampus, at least in pop culture, has become quite popular. Some people take it very serious, while others just think it's a fun tradition to add to the Christmas holiday. But the tradition has definitely been revived. Artists come together and create sculptures of Krampus or hand-carved masks for people to wear. But even today in places like Austria, it is often debated if Krampus legend is appropriate to tell to children. Who celebrates Krampus these days? It's celebrated much more around the world. As I said, it's most often related to Germany. It is kind of moved away from Europe, and it has come over here to the United States and Canada. And mostly that has to do with entertainment industry, as there's been a few different movies that have featured Krampus and have kind of explained or introduced this particular legend to North American people. And now for the how. How exactly do people celebrate Krampus? These traditions have been celebrated over the centuries, and it's amazing that they are still celebrated today. Sometimes he is celebrated as as a lone figure, while other times, as I said, he is looped in with St. Nicholas as the good and the bad of Christmas. People over the years have, of course, honored Krampus legend by continuing to pass it on to generation, but they've also honored it with special Krampus parades or tradition like Krampuslauf, if I'm saying that correctly, which basically translate to Krampus Run. It is also a tradition to dress up as Krampus at these certain events. Countries like Austria and Germany celebrate St. Nicholas on December 6th and have Krampus Run the night before. As I said, it's a tradition at some of these celebrations for adults to dress as Krampus and kind of chase children around, and even adults around the streets, kind of like devils in the street, if you will. Unfortunately, sometimes at these celebrations, these Krampus runs, people have been known to get a little way into character or a little way too drunk and have literally started beating people with sticks in the street. If that's not creepy, I don't know what is. Maybe creepy, maybe a little funny. And it's also kind of the mystery behind the Krampus mask. You don't know who is dressed up as Krampus, and then you have him chasing you down the street. No thank you. So why? Why do people keep this Krampus legend going? Is it for the parents to tell their children, or is it that spooky factor to add to the holiday season? Today, parents continue to tell their children of Krampus' story all year round just to kind of, push them in the right direction, You want to be nice this year, so Santa Claus comes and Krampus doesn't come and get you, right? Don't want him to bring you down to the underworld. Brutal. So what do you guys think? Have you guys been on the naughty or nice list? Is St. Nicholas coming to your house, or Krampus? Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Our Bizarre and Unusual World, recreated for ASMR. Thank you much, love.